Hey guys, Dark Endless Pit here, back with a new video. It's been a while since I made a video. Been basically taking a break. Right now I'm on vacation and, I'm in a different country right now, specifically Poland. And, it's not bad. The country isn't too bad, but I mean, they have their own problems. There's no such thing as a utopia. You're not going to escape this planet by going to another country and hoping that things get better. Um, Maybe there are some countries that are better than others in terms of what they provide, um, but yeah, I want to just talk about just some general topics here and there. Um, you know, I'm starting to realize how veganism or being a vegan will basically put you to the category of being a black sheep, and it's very interesting how people basically think that you're doing it for health reasons or you're doing it for certain other reasons, that aren't for the main reason. Animals do suffer on this planet. We are also animals on this planet. We are no different than them. We feel like them. They feel just as we do. We feel, we're animals. I mean, we're no different. The only difference is that we have different abilities. We have intelligence. They don't have intelligence. All they have is their, animalistic instincts to survive, right? Some animals have the ability to fly. Some animals have the ability to swim very fast. Some animals have the ability to produce venom, webs, all kinds of things, that nature gave them in order to survive. But here, what we have is the intelligence. And this tool provides us the capacity to look over the maze and see what the fuck is going on here, right? And we have this very unique ability to understand consciousness, to understand the game that we're playing in. And all these other animals, all these other creatures on this planet cannot understand what the fuck is going on out here. They don't understand that they're going to die. They don't understand that when they're eating another animal alive, that they're causing pain and torture. But we do. We have this brain here between our fucking eyes, and we can calculate, we can add up facts. The brain is, the only purpose of the brain is to calculate, to model reality accurately. And you're not going to model reality accurately if you're putting in religion and garbage in that brain. You're not going to see the truth. You're not going to see life for what it is, And obviously life sucks, it should not be hard to understand that. And it doesn't matter where you are, what social position you are in life. The fact is, it's all going to end someday. And it's going to end tragically, horribly. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. And, this isn't coming from someone who hasn't done any real introspection or real understanding of their own existence. I'm just one bug on planet Earth, one minuscule human being on planet Earth, right? And there's so many human beings out here who also have the same capacity to add up facts and calculate with their brains. And the problem is that a lot of people decide that it's not comforting and it's not easy, and therefore they ignore it. And they would rather live in the delusions and fantasy and rather in reality. And it's obvious why that is. And someone told me, since I'm in Poland, I've been visiting some family members, and they told me, I was having some deep conversations with them about religion and stuff like that. And I told them I didn't believe in a God, and he told me that, it takes bravery to look at life in that kind of way, but it's the only logical, rational way to look at it. You know, Even though I'm in a city that's very beautiful and there's a lot of things to do here, I still see cracks in it. I still see bad shit happening, and that's not something a lot of people will focus on. People will focus on the pleasures. People will focus on the trivialities, the superficial shit that you can get, right? The good looks and all that stuff, but they don't focus on what the fuck is really happening out here. And that is not an easy thing for a human being to acknowledge and to accept. Not at all. And that's what will make you a black sheep. That will make you hated on. That will make you rejected, not accepted, because you're not living in delusions. You're truly living in reality, and you're accepting the facts for what it is. And that's very hard for a lot of people to accept. You know, you need to have your brain to actually want to search for these things in order to accept them. Because if your brain cannot comprehend or acknowledge these realities, you will just fall into delusions. You will fall into religion. You will fall into all these traps, you know, that will destroy your brain and your capacity to have intelligence. You will not have an open mind. You will have a closed mind. You will have something that will truly not see the truth for what it is. You will make up bullshit. You will make up whatever fantasies you want to live in to make it comforting. So, I mean, right behind me is a very beautiful view. I probably can show maybe pictures on my my YouTube community post, but believe me, there are some very heartbreaking things that happen in cities that are even beautiful. And, you know, it is really scary how we live in a world, in a society that just every day focuses on the pleasures and does not pay attention to the prices paid, the misery that people have to endure every day, you know. And we can go back to the subject of veganism, which of course is just one little subject that a lot of human beings fail to recognize, that animals are just as valuable as we are. They do not have intelligence like we do, but that does not mean they do not have the capacity to feel and be tortured like us. Because I am visiting Poland, I've visited the Auschwitz concentration camps, right? And, you know, these places were people were tortured in, severely tortured. I'm talking about unimaginable ways that my brain can't even comprehend how I can live another moment in that kind of life where you're being tortured. I went to these rooms where people were trapped in literally one little window and four by four cubes. And you saw that the wooden doors that they were trapped in was clawed out, like deep holes with their fingernails. You know what I mean? And that's evidence of torture. Okay, that is a real thing in reality. And even though things like that exist, you know, in that kind of environment, you know, you'll still see disrespect in these kind of horrible places that happened. You'll see graffiti in these concentration camps. You'll see trash all over the place. You'll even see people wearing horrible clothes, like inappropriate clothes. I mean, you can see their ass cheeks. You can see graphic words on their t-shirts that say "fuck you." Just a lot of disrespect for what has occurred on that place. I understand that people are finally dead and are resting in peace, but you need to have respect for the fact that people were tortured there. And if torture does not mean anything to you, then yes, you deserve the same fucking fate, if not worse. You deserve whatever nature can throw at you, the longest brutal death possible, you know, if you do not respect or value torture or suffering. And that's a fucking truth that a lot of people want to ignore because it doesn't make them feel good. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this is the world where we live in, where people can visit these places where a lot of horrible things have happened in the past, and they do not show any respect to the real prices paid, you know. Regardless of how you think of the people or individuals, the fact is that people were completely and utterly obliterated, and you know, a lot of torture and suffering was wasted for nothing, literally. And when I saw those with my own eyes, that opened my eyes. That showed me that not only was it depressing in the past to acknowledge the fact that humanity had a tremendous failure and the fact that they didn't use their intelligence, but on top of that, even modern humanity and the fact that they can go to these historic places and they show no respect is unbelievably disgusting and a fucking complete failure of humanity even currently today. The fact is that we have intelligence, or we have information, and we have facts, and people do not add any of these up. And they would rather, again, take all these as though they don't matter, or they're not happening to me, therefore I shouldn't pay attention. But that's the life, that's the world we're living in, I'm not saying all human beings are garbage or they suck, but there's a lot of evidence to show that we are not improving as a species. We are not learning. We are just letting people suffer every day. It doesn't matter if whatever the circumstance it might be. The fact is that people are just wasting pain, suffering, and torture every day. And they think that they're worth it. They think that they're doing something with their lives. They think that their body is worth it. They think all this shit is worth it for this miserable end that people have. And it is just amazing to me that people see nothing wrong with this. The concentration camp was definitely an eye-opening and just a reassurance to how disgusting this human species is, because it really has this one ability to utilize it to the full potential, to maximize comfort, right? To maximize, bliss and happiness and pleasure and all this stuff, and yet it just wastes it every day. Because of ego, because of self-centeredness, because the lack of empathy. And it is really astonishing the fact that this is happening. People really think that they're worth other people suffering. For what? I mean, with this intelligence, we should be maximizing it. We should be maximizing comfort. Because everyone wants to be comfortable. Everyone wants to be feeling good, right? No one wants to be feeling bad. What's the fucking, what are you getting out of this fucking life if you're just going to feel bad all the time? It's so crazy. It's so crazy that people, if you're in a state of mind where you're feeling good and you're not feeling bad, you should be fucking happy. You should be lucky, grateful that you're not suffering. And if that's the case, why don't you give a helping hand? Okay, we're all on the same lifeboat. We're all trying to fucking survive on this planet and try to get what we can, maximize what we can. It just doesn't make any logical sense, and we're just wasting it every fucking day. That's what I'm not understanding, and that's why I can't feel like, like a white sheep. I feel like a black sheep, because I am. I feel like a minority. I feel like as a human being, I do not fit here. I do not belong. There's no place for me here because of my intelligence and the level that I'm at right now. I cannot just ignore these facts. My brain cannot do it. I can't fucking, no matter how much beer I drink, no matter how much I try to cope with this reality, I just cannot escape the facts. It's not possible. It's as though you're trying to erase your fucking brain from doing 2 + 2. It's just not possible. You cannot fucking erase the fact that 2 + 2 = 4. You can't just keep telling people to stay positive and be happy. That's not how it works. Being happy comes from experiences and continuation of good experiences. If you have nothing but bad experiences, there's no possible way of being happy. That's not how this life works. And it really irritates me when people think that calling people negative is going to help. It does not help. It does not help anyone's situation. If someone's close to poverty and stuff like that, telling them that they're negative is not going to help their situation. You're just going to make it worse. Telling people that they're a downer is not going to help the situation. They're still going to be struggling. That's what I'm not understanding with this species. I don't understand what the hell they're seeing. I don't understand the herd mentality. I don't understand the being an NPC, being a normie, being ignorant, belligerently ignorant to the truth, the facts, what's going on out here. You know? And sure, people have good lives. People are experiencing good things. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying the fact that there are some good experiences that you can have out here. But they do not fucking negate or outweigh the bads, the negatives. The negatives are always going to overrule the positives. That's just how life works. That's reality. That's why people go on vacations. That's why people go to, tourist designations or whatever, any place, to escape the reality, to escape the bads, the negatives. And it's not only unfortunate, but very frustrating when I want to be able to communicate this to people. It's almost like trying to sell this to people, but it's very difficult to sell this idea to people, this philosophy, this way of thinking. Because of course, when you try to accept these things, you're not going to feel good. The truth isn't supposed to make you feel good. It's never going to make you feel good. But it will do one thing. It will definitely enlighten you, and it will definitely make you more empathetic and more caring and understanding and more intelligent, more careful, makes you more risk averse, makes you do all these things the more intelligent you are. And that's why I became a vegan. That's why I became, an ethicist. That's why I became all these things. Not because of ego reasons. Not because it makes me feel good. No, because it's the truth. It's what's right. Sure, it's easier to just not even think about what you're even eating. Of course, it's easier. Who wants to think that every single time you eat a fucking pizza, you might be harming a cow for its cheese? You might be harming a chicken for the eggs. Who wants to be thinking like that all the time? It's not easy. It's very difficult. And that's a reality that a lot of people would rather push away. So, but yeah, I'm trying to enjoy my vacation, but it's very difficult because, again, I just see nothing but superficiality around. Lots of expensive toys that people have, and I do still see people struggling. I do see people. Again, I've been to multiple cities now, and I have seen, again, I do recommend, if you have the funds, to travel, because you might get, better grasps of how bad life can be, even though, you need to change your environment just to get a better perspective, because again, yes, it may be a good thing. It might change your life for the better, but it can also reassure your philosophy that you already have. The fact that, human beings can never change. They can never grow up, and they can never, face the facts and respect and value suffering. So, it is a very difficult thing to be on this path of intelligence. Because a lot of people, again, will ignore the simple facts. And, again, it's easier to be ignorant, right? Plus, you know, being bliss is ignorance, right? So, but yeah, there's a lot that needs to change here. I mean, I'm in a different country right now, and you know, at first I was very optimistic, and I thought things were going to be better than the U.S. and stuff like that. But slowly and surely, reality starts kicking me in the head. You know, I start seeing things because I'm a very observant person. I don't just want to believe whatever I want to believe in. No, I see the things in reality to come to a conclusion. Not because I like it, not because I want it to be it, but that's the truth. And that's what I'm seeing. And it's very unfortunate that, you know, again, things are not progressing to the right direction. It's basically going backwards. It's very disgusting because a lot of people have suffered to get to this point in history. And I hope that things will get better, and I hope things will change for the better, but right now I don't think it's going to get to that point, unfortunately. And the only thing we can do is have these discussions, and I would like to have a way to get people to be convinced that this is the truth, because again, people can make up whatever they want to make up, right? So, and that's the difficult part, is trying to convince people the truth, because the truth sucks, and does not make you feel good. And it really does takes bravery, not only bravery, but truly understanding, being open-minded and conscious to actually understand the circumstance that we're all heading towards. The circumstance that we're all heading towards is not a good fate. We're all heading towards a bad fate. And some people may get lucky and not have to endure that horrible fate for too long, but for majority of us people, it's not going to look good, man. So that's all I want to make for this video. It's been a while since I made a video. May make another topic later today, but if not, this will be a long one, and I hope you guys get something out of this, and I hope more people can understand where I'm coming from, because this philosophy stuff is very important. You know, a lot is at stake here, and not a lot of people are taking this whole existing part seriously at all, and what their job is and what their obligations is out here. Like, you should not be causing more suffering just because, you know, because there's no God or whatever. You should not be, just because there's no such thing as a God doesn't mean you should be hurting more people. Because we all have intelligence, and we all should be valuing the same things, right? At the end of the day. But that's all I got for today. I might do another video later, but take care, guys.